When my son was born, I had in my mind that the first 8 weeks would be newborn phase. And then we hit that 8th week and I thought, I'm not ready to allow my son to not be a newborn anymore. And so in my mind, I moved the goalpost to 12 weeks. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, we are now at the 12-week mark, which means that I can no longer be in denial that my son is no longer a newborn. He is a proper infant. We've removed the infant insert in his doona. We've sized him up to a medium in his snooze swaddle. He is growing and he's getting older, and it's amazing, but also kind of sad that time is just like going by, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the 12th week. So this week, some of the amazing things that have happened have been that he is now more alert than he's ever been before. He is super chatty, super giggly. We will just sit and have little conversations back and forth where we'll be cooing at each other, or I'll ask him a question. And the sound of him cooing is the best sound I've ever heard in my 33 years of life. Like, it is my favorite thing to hear him talking and laughing. It is adorable. Now, parallel to him being more alert and giggly and talkative is that he has had a few days where he has been a little gremlin. And I don't know if it's because he's going through like a growth spurt, or if he just had a few off days, but especially in witching hour, like the hours kind of before bed, he has had days where he has just been inconsolable, which from what I understand is pretty normal developmentally, so I'm not concerned about it. I don't think it's colic, but yeah, he's been a little bit on the grumpy side. And this wouldn't be a problem if it meant that I could relax or like sit down while he's upset and comfort him. But the thing is that he will either want to be on my boob with me sitting down, or he will want me to be standing up and rocking him. And if he then falls asleep on me and I sit down, he would then start crying. I made a video about this asking for tips, and 2 tips that I got, one of them I tried and it worked, was to kind of start by moving like this, and then you stop moving but you stand up, and then you sit down. So you're kind of like phasing out the elements of standing up and bouncing him, but I digress. The other way was a yoga ball, which I've bought but I haven't blown up yet, so I will update you when I try that. But having to be on my feet a lot was exhausting. And then along with this, I've said before that my son is generally speaking a pretty good sleeper. The past few nights, he's been waking up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes, to be fair to him, it's when he's had an accident and he's wet himself and maybe he's cold, I assume. But sometimes it's for seemingly no reason other than he just wakes up and wants to be comforted. And at the end of the day, he's a baby. Of course I'm going to comfort him. So I get up and feed him and put him back to bed. Thank goodness he goes back to bed pretty well. So the past few nights he's kind of slept from, I'd say, like 7:30 to around like 3 or 4, and then I put him back down until about 7. So still not terrible, but just not what we were used to before, where he was sleeping from 7:30 p.m. until like 6:30 a.m. And I think all of these things combined, specifically around him being very needy, crying a lot, him waking up in the night, really, I think, took a toll on my mental health this week. On one particular day, I really felt just drained, and I felt like, oh my gosh, it felt like I was running a race with no end post. I thought, this is my life now. Like, every single day I wake up and I do the same things with him, and he might cry and I have to take care of him, and it felt very overwhelming. And I share this not because, I'm sharing this because I think a lot of people feel this way, and I generally have pretty decent mental health, knock on wood, but that day was really hard for me. And again, I have a lot of support. My husband is super supportive. My mom is about to come back to help me because my husband's been traveling. We have a cleaner who comes once a week. I have so much support, and yet, I just want to normalize that it's normal to feel a way sometimes, I think, about motherhood. And I'm still new to this, but I think what I felt was pretty normal that day, and knowing that it was normal made me feel better, and know that, okay, this too shall pass, and if it doesn't, it's important for me to like be conscious enough about it to know that I can get help, and to start thinking about, if I do need help, what does that look like? I don't think I'm there yet. I feel much better today. Not today. The past few days I felt much better. There was, as I said, just one day that I was, crying because I was so tired. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling like it would never end. But definitely feeling better now. But yeah, so week 12 has had its ups, it's had its downs. As I said, I love my son's laugh, his cooing noises. But yeah, that was week 12.